Hey everybody, welcome back. Northernlion plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth plus 6 wins in a row, nothing to brag about. Let's not even worry about the meta scope of what we got going on here. Look at that, I'm loco, I don't care, I'm living La Vida Loca. NJPQ VKS9. You haven't done this in a bit, but I think I'm gonna have to ergo. My wrists just feel a little bit overflexed in my current chair's position. If you'll give me a moment, I would like to be slightly higher. Can you slightly higher? Do-do-do-do-do-do. Lower arm rest proportionally. This doesn't feel right. Take me slightly lower. There we go. Oh, this feels good. I'm here to tell you. I know, like, you know, my demographics have trended older as my channel has gotten older, which I think makes logical sense, but you'd be surprised. It's not necessarily the case for everybody. So I think, you know, as time goes on, more and more people listen to me. or take what I say somewhat seriously in this department, but I'm telling you, ergonomically, you should care about the ergonomics of your home setup. It doesn't have to be expensive. Just like, so, like, let me tell you, for years, like, pretty much throughout university, I had a desk, but I did most of my work on my laptop, on my bed. So, like, I put the bed, or the laptop, like, where your pillow was supposed to be, and then I would just, like, lay on my stomach on the bed, and that's how I would do all my typing and my, you know, typing up lab reports and stuff like that. And you might say it sounds like it would screw up your neck and your back, and also your you know what, and your crack. I think I'm largely, at least for right now, insulated from the ill effects of that, and I'm very grateful for that, because it's obviously not a very ergonomic way to sit. But what has happened is I've noticed, like, because I would keep myself propped up on my elbows, the nerves, like the funny bone nerves in my elbow, are very, very sensitive. Like, way more sensitive than they were earlier in my life, and also, like, way more sensitive than I think the average 32-year-old's nerves there are, because I think I just compressed them by always having, you know, my weight on my elbows when I was on my bed and sitting up. So, you know, you might think that, like, that kind of ergonomic stuff doesn't matter that much, but it makes a difference, I'm telling you. Now I try to make sure, you know, and I have for a few years, but make sure that I'm, you know, trying to sit up relatively straight and, you know, not have my wrists getting completely destroyed by whatever the hand position I got on my keyboard is, and so on and so forth. It's like the two most old man things I keep harping on are, like, don't listen to music so loud in your headphones. You will get tinnitus, and then you'll make posts on, you know, the tinnitus subreddit about how, like, nobody could have possibly seen this coming. Trust me, you don't want to go down that road. I got, like, extremely mild tinnitus. Like, if I hadn't talked about it here, I probably, you know, it had been 6 months since I thought about it. But the stories that people have of really bad tinnitus are, you know, they sound incredibly frustrating. And the other one is, you know, care about the ergonomics of your desk setup. If you can. You don't need to get an adjustable sit-stand desk. You know, you don't need to get a Herman Miller M-Body Logitech chair. But at least, you know, feet firmly on the ground, wrists not bent at like a like a 30-degree angle upwards while you're gaming. I'm telling you, man, it matters. Anyway, it's not what I set out to talk about when I started today's episode, but, you know, this is just a good reminder. Good posture check reminder. Let me out. We're doing good stuff with Butterbean here, which is it's a rarity for sure. Hopefully we can turn that into wait what, if not just replace it with a better spacebar item, which does not exist there, I'll tell you that much. But this seems like a great run. This seems like a run that has a very low probability for things to go sideways, starring Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, Virginia Madsen, and Sandra Oh. I'm sorry I cannot name another person that was in Sideways. I've only got the 4 main cast members from the 2003 Alexander Payne directed film Sideways, okay? I wish I had more. I wish I had more to offer you. I'm embarrassed that I can only name the top 4 build cast in that movie. That was not a good bomb. Luckily, we have many. The one time this dude jumps. Is the one time I place a bomb to try to stop. Don't even. Okay, poison will get him. Deal with the devil. Protected. Let's not take that just yet. Truly, like, I would describe this as like a god-awful deal with the devil. But I'm going to take a chance on Guppy. I'm not going to take a chance on Book of Sin. It might seem a little sideways. Because Book of Sin is better than Wait What? But I don't think Book of Sin is really all that good, and I really don't want to spend 1 permanent HP just to replace Butterbean, when, like, to be honest with you, we could possibly make Butterbean work for us in the future for 0 HP. All we need is, like, a spacebar item on our item room, for example. And, you know, you might call some shenanigans, because it is fair to say that Guppy's Hairball essentially does nothing for us. Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. But, you know, nothing with the potential for something, in some situations, is better than something bad with no potential attached to it whatsoever. Like, what's the upside to Book of Sin? If we get incredible dice rolls, we'll get a bunch of spirit hearts out of it. Or, alternatively, that's a library, isn't it? Alternatively, we could get Bookworm. And now I look like the fool here. But alternatively, we could get Bookworm. But even Bookworm, like... Don't get me wrong, if you get the choice to get it for free, you'd always like to have it, but it's not the sort of thing where you'd be like, oh man, Poggy, Bookworm, now the run is saved. Okay, you just need to use your noggin here. We can either, here's the thing, if there's a book that allows us to jump or fly, we take that. If there's not, then we just find the best book. There is the Bible, okay. And then, do we want Wait What, or do we want Satanic Bible? We definitely want Satanic Bible. Like, it's, I hate to say it, but it's not even close. Alright, so this run's looking pretty good. I'm excited today. It should be a good day. I love starting the week off productively. I'm a fast starter, and I know that makes, you know, the jokes make themselves, let's put it that way. You get it. Either way, like, I'm one of those guys, like, I'm not naturally good at finishing a project. I get good ideas, I act on them quickly, and I'm like one of those guys, I'm sure this is very relatable. I'm one of those guys, like, if me and a friend start the same hobby at the same time, I am 25% ahead of them within a week. You might think that's braggadocious, but the flip side of that is, a year later, they're still doing it, and I'm like, nah, I washed out of that. I lost interest. Like, I don't think I have undiagnosed ADHD, but I do see sometimes there's a lot of, like, you know, without sounding insensitive, there's a lot of, like, ADHD memes on Twitter that are, like, you know, like Jeff Foxworthy's You Might Be a Redneck, but, like, if you start on too many new projects, you might have undiagnosed ADHD. And some of those, I'm like, they don't really apply to me. Some of them very much apply to me. One of them definitely being, like, and my mom was talking about this a lot when she was here as well, but, like, especially as a kid, I would get, like, interested in something, and then I would get obsessive about it, and I would like, lean into that obsession until I got, you know, I lost interest, and then when I lost interest, it was like, I'm out. Never want to see it again, or at least for a couple of years. So, and you can see that, you know, I go through phases. You know, when we've talked about, you know, Pokemon Go and working out and etc. etc. Now, I would say, you know, working out is a phase I didn't really want to end. Rather, COVID kind of put a damper on it. Not to say you can't still find ways to exercise during gym closures, but you get what I mean. Anyway, it's an excuse. It's a good excuse. It's not a bulletproof excuse, but you know, yeah, you know, there's the programming arc and the Pokemon Go arc, and then, you know, we were into Magic for a while, and, you know, some of the hobbies stick around and become, you know, more like habits than hobbies, and some of them, you know, once they're gone, you never see them again. But I'm a fast starter. I like to, you know, within a self-defined context, I like to move quickly, and I'm agile in that sense. Now, when you need somebody, like, I'm not a good one-man show, I think, in that case, because I tend not to be the best finisher, and again, the jokes write themselves. I'll ask you to wait. But this is something I've been working on for sure. You know what? I think we should grab this, and then let's get a quick reroll in here. Something I've been working on. Actually, being in programming classes helped me out a lot there, even though the projects that we did were, you know, very small in scope. You know, if you're working on like a 12-week project and you know, in week 1 you get super excited about it and you get like some scope creep, you gotta finish it. So even though there were times where I was like, let's just cut this, you know, we made it work. But it doesn't come naturally to me, but I know it's relatable to a lot of people. I think on average, most people are better at starting things than they are at finishing them. Some people are like, you know, starting's the hardest part, but I would say maybe even for at least the plurality of people, you know, the final 10% of anything is like the hardest. But anyway, why do I say that? Well, because it's Monday and it's, you know, 10:50 a.m. This is the 3rd video I've recorded today, and I'm feeling great. You know, I like to get this early week momentum. I'm excited. You know, and in just over an hour, should be doing a chess lesson with International Master Gotham Chess. I'm excited. I don't really know what a chess lesson looks like to that extent, you know? Like, I've never had... I've done a lot of self-study as a youngster, but I never really had private chess lessons. This is a weird flex, but just bear with me on this one. I used to play in my hometown's chess club. I don't know, probably had like 30 players that would get together every week, and it was relatively strong. Like, there were players in the like low quadruple digits who were fodder, grist for the mill, and then there were genuinely players in the 1800s and even into the like the low 2000s that were like, you know, genuinely, we wouldn't call them world-class players, but definitely like they could hold their own, and were better than me for sure. However, I never had private lessons. I always self-studied, and my rating in person play was like, you know, in the 1500s, something like that, as a 12-year-old. But one time, my 8th grade teacher came to me and was like, hey, check it out. I was at the grocery store and I found this flyer. There's a guy that does private chess lessons, and I thought that I would pass the flyer on to you because I know you're interested in chess, and it would be like, you know, maybe this would be a way for you to get even better. And then I looked at who was offering the course, and it was a guy from my local chess club who I routinely beat as a middle schooler in the tournaments. I was like, no, that doesn't mean he can't teach chess to, you know, little kids. But I mean, come on, you know, rip to his elo, but I'm built different. Anyway, no disrespect meant to the teacher, but... And I mean, that's... The other thing is, just because, and I mean, this is probably not one of those situations, but just because, like, you're worse at something than someone doesn't mean you can't teach them how to be better. Like, I know that sounds busted, but, like, you ever watch, like, tennis, and they're always like, oh, and there's Roger Federer's coach in the stands. And you're like, why... How do you coach Roger Federer? He's, like, the greatest tennis player of all time. There's some dude who was, like, at some point ranked 400th in the world is going to be like, oh, yeah, I don't know, try to hit it harder. But I guess, you know, there's a unique skill set in coaching. Like, if Roger Federer's coach was, like, Pete Sampras, I'd be like, I get it. Pete Sampras was a great player. He could probably teach Roger Federer a thing or two. And the only reason, like, you know, the expression, those who can't do, teach, you know, Pete Sampras can't really do anymore, but it's not because he's bad at tennis. It's just because, you know, he's getting a little long in the tooth. He's getting a little old. But whenever it's like, you know, it's his coach. He's a local club player from Cincinnati. I'm like, clearly there's something about the industry that I don't understand. Because it seems like, if anything, Roger Federer should be coaching that guy. But that's none of my business. Anyway. Moving along here. The only negative of this run is we have not had, like, a material gain in terms of our DPS statistics. Love the orbitals, really. HP's doing fine and better now. Satanic Bible's incredible, but we're gonna, for a long time here, we're probably gonna end up using our orbitals to do as much of the damage as seems prudent. Just because of the fact that's not Guppy. Also, that ain't Falco. Oh. Guppy. Go, let's go. We're one Guppy item away with a 100% deal with the devil chance. Sorry, I talked too fast there. I turned into John Michael Montgomery. Hey, pretty lady, won't you give me a sign? I'd do anything to make you mine on mine. I'd do anything to be at your beck and call. It's a little 1996 blast from the past, sold by John Michael Montgomery. Anyway, moving on here. Like I said, it's a Monday. Weekend was good. No complaints. Played some Demon Souls on Monday, or on Sunday's stream, and honestly, like, I hit some pits in that game, some pits of enjoyment. You might call them poison swamps, for example. But on the other hand, also had some very good boss fights, and I'm starting to come to terms with Demon Souls. I think Demon Souls, I was the victim of my own hype. I, for some reason, had come to the sentiment that Demon Souls is like the forgotten classic Souls game. And I'm going to annoy some people by what I'm about to say, for sure. But I'm going to say it anyway, and I hope you'll let me talk my way out of it. But I had built it up in my head as if, like, it was going to be Dark Souls 4. It's not Dark Souls 4. If anything, based on, you know, I don't know, I'm probably like a third of the way through the game, to be fair. But if anything, is almost like Dark Souls 0. Like, you can really, while playing Demon Souls on PS5, you can definitely see, like, oh, they tried some stuff in this game and learned some lessons that they then put into Dark Souls. Not to say that Dark Souls is objectively better. I think I will probably end up on the side of preferring Dark Souls to Demon Souls, but you can see, like, the seeds of that, of the evolution of the Souls franchise in that game, for sure. And some of it works better than others, but I'm definitely starting to get at peace with it, at least. I'm enjoying it, but and you know what? Rather than, like, when I fight, like, a meme boss that dies in 2 seconds, because they just have, like, some gimmick attached to them and only one attack, rather than be like, what the heck were they thinking? I'm like, okay, they were trying stuff out. It was 2008 or whatever, you know? So I think I'm coming around to it in that sense. And I really, like, I almost never say this about games, you know? I mean, look at the games that I play for my channel mostly, and you'll see where I'm going with this, but I actually think Demon Souls is one of the only games I've played in a long time that looks so good. I would, and I mean, if you have a PS5, obviously you're gonna play it, you know, if you have a PS5 right now. Like, what else are you playing? You, like me, you're playing Rocket League? We'll take them both because we want the Guppy chance here. That's an amazing item. No salt there. 7 Seals is not so good. Succubus is awesome. And I think it was worth it in the end. It's a little funky, but that's okay. But I genuinely, like, it's not just the texture quality. Just looking at the game, like, the animations are so good. I'm not, like, an animation guy, so I'm very wary that maybe I'm becoming one of those dunkable lay persons, where, you know, like the people who watched Game of Thrones Season 8, and there's the scene where Drogon is behind Daenerys, and Drogon stretches his wings, and then it looks like Daenerys has dragon wings. People are like, what, the cinematography? Because you don't understand, but if you don't think about it, it just looks cool. But if you think about it, it's like she is a dragon, dude. What? Because she's like the mother of dragons? These guys thought of everything, right? So I'm wary of being like, you know, objectively the animation is transcendent. But I'm like, objectively, the animation is transcendent. Is what I'm trying to say. So I'm still figuring it out. Still figuring out my end take on Demon Souls. I will say, I think in terms of encounter design, like, they've refined their approach a lot. Let's put it that way. There's so many, like, hey, it's a spiral staircase that's wide enough for one person to walk up, and there's an extremely tanky enemy on it you can't get around. And also, if you try to run away, they'll just shoot you in the back. You know, there's a lot of that for sure. But it's not, you know, it's not to say it's not enjoyable. I'm having fun with it. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to understand how to have fun with it, because I was coming at it, like, in my head, I was just genuinely was like, Dark Souls 4, baby, here we go. That was naive of me. Instead, I should be treating it as like a fun Souls game, but also almost kind of like a curiosity, you know? Like when you listen to like a demo tape for your favorite band. You're like, whoa, you can see, like, it's not as good as, you know, OK Computer, but you can see, like, the seeds of where they were gonna take this in the future. Toxic makes you look pretty ugly. Yet another swamp for Miyazaki. Hi. Sorry, this, Toxic police. Come on, man. Come on. I don't care to get to the boss rush, but like, you know, it's a matter of personal respect here. I'm not willing to. Give me this. Pop me in here. Really? You gonna make me use Aerowalk? I've told you 20 times. I don't know what that does, and I'm never gonna look it up. You know, you're being a real son of a gun, and you know what? I respect you for it. Making me take some pills, making me blow up some blood banks I might otherwise consider useful to the operation at hand. Making me get a health up I wouldn't have otherwise had access to. Making me throw away a bunch of demon hearts just to play a creature that might end up giving me nothing at the end of the day. I don't get, dude. Let's do it. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Okay, now I don't think I want to get that nuts. I think that's a little bit too nuts for me. You can tell, like, I would only do this on a run in which I feel pretty comfortable. But I do also want to say that, like, the actual, like, DPS of this run is still pretty bad. Like, we're lacking, really, like, again, any kind of improvement in that department at all. Alges? Yera. Actually, like, Yera's still pretty sick here. For this reason and this reason alone. But we probably won't actually use Yera on that battery. We don't need it yet. I'd rather use it on the chest if possible. You guys ever notice how much Kevin O'Leary looks like Patrick Stewart? It dawned on me, though. There's no extra place to take that bit. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, it's not, like, I know that people are like, you'd be stunned at the amount of tweets that I get that are like, hey, saw you on the subway today. And it's like some 55-year-old bald guy that looks nothing like me. And don't even get me started. When Community was originally running, I got a decent number of, not just tweets, but like, you know, people I went to high school with or college with would send me like a photo of Joel McHale pretending to be the dean from Community and be like, lol, this looks like you. But then it was so much worse when it came back to Netflix. Like, I was getting like 10 tweets a day that were like, yo, you see the episode of Community where Jeff becomes, he pretends to be the dean? It looks just like you. And I'm like, you know, at least in that sense, it's kind of flattering. Joel McHale, you know, he's a handsome guy, but still. But this is one where I'm like, dude, Patrick Stewart, maybe not Patrick Stewart now because he's, you know, like in his 80s, but if you look at Patrick Stewart from the next generation years, versus Kevin O'Leary, you would be like, if Patrick Stewart just put on like 30 pounds from owning his own winery, then, yeah, they're twins, dude. Twins, Basil. Hold on, definitely need this. It's a fun room. I don't know why, like, why I feel the salt rising inside of me. And I gotta acknowledge, like, where's that coming from? I'll tell you where it's coming from, and it's, you know, you're not gonna love this. The run is good, but it just, and I've said it, you know, a couple times now, just lacks the one stat that minimizes your salt. Like, if we died due to having 1 HP, I'd be like, we dead. Whatever. If you died due to having, you know, 4 damage and 12 rate of fire for literally the entire run, then you kind of go, okay, you know, we all had our fun here, but maybe we could pick it up a little bit. I mean, I have seen 3 different deals with the devil hither to this point. Do you think perhaps you could find it within your heart of hearts to, you know, gussy up the stat a little bit? Best I can do is 350. Loch Ness Monster .mp4. Okay, we want the bombs. Because I'm really genuinely pretty close to just bombing my way through some of these rooms. I will no longer on this one because, you know, we did waste a bomb, I suppose, but also got very easy access there. We're going to peep this room. Because Guppy's head is worth a ton. Bloodbag is honestly worth a lot as well. And I hate that we're, like, devoid of keys, but we gotta push it. More keys? More keys. Golden key. Yeah, like, I don't feel like I'm asking for that much. Just, like, you know, like a couple of damage upgrades. Or as, like, a couple of tiers upgrades. Or, like, one of each would also go, like, a long way. But on the other hand, I guess I can't really complain. Because I am just literally, like, walking into enemies to let Sack Dagger do all the damage. And, okay, well, we'll be using the tick then. And we're kind of coming out ahead just because of the fact that we got Satanic Bibles. So, it's not an XL floor. It's not an XL floor. Okay. It's alright. Look, at the end of the day, I got to acknowledge, you know, I'm the only element in Isaac that I can control. So I think it's important that we just play it cool. Manage your own emotions, you know? If you can keep yourself from getting salty, you won't make as many dumb decisions. And let's talk to ourselves here. Because, like, I think we can actually afford to play badly on purpose, to use Sack Dagger well. We just need to do it when we have HP. As long as we're at, like, near full HP, we can accept the cost of that. Okay. I probably want to go to the curse room if I don't become Guppy here. PJs are actually quite nice. Alrighty. Pretty big F there. F in chat, please. And then maybe a Guppy item in here? No, but Satanic Bible is going to get a charge. All right. It was a long floor. It was, hey, we got pajamas and we got a speed upgrade. And we learned that, you know, if you want to make Isaac laugh, tell him your plans. Either way, we're moving on. Curse of the Lost. You ever see The Land of the Lost starring Will Ferrell? Not a good movie. I think, honestly, that was where part of the Will Ferrell shine came off for me. And he you know, he had always had he developed a divisive opinion in media circles because his, okay, Ruka, yeah, just walk in front of the whole screen. Go ahead. Go ahead. And now, would you like to leave? You may leave. But let me guess, Tomo's going to want to leave after that. Just because, you know, his movies, I don't want to say, like, you know, they were not funny. But not everybody liked them, you know? Some people considered them, like, the lowest common denominator. Those people had never heard of Adam Sandler movies. But regardless, I was pro Will Ferrell for sure. And then when Land of the Lost came out in, like, 2009, I remember I was like, yeah, I'll see this. I didn't see it in theaters, thankfully. I remember watching it and being like, it honestly, to me, feels like nobody involved with this cared about the end result whatsoever. It's just one of those weird movies where you're like, so Land of the Lost is like a 1960s science fiction television show that nobody remembers unless they had like a Nick at Night subscription in the year 1997. So it's like a weird choice for a movie to begin with, and then secondarily, like, the movie was not executed well. It had no vision and there was no humor. You got no talent. You're flat. Anyway, those are my thoughts. In case you were curious, those are my thoughts on the 2009 film Land of the Lost. I also, you know, as far as actors who always play themselves, I gotta tell you, I tend to like Danny McBride. You may know him as Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down. But he really is the same person in every single piece of media. And I say that I actually, so like last year, I watched the HBO comedy series, Vice Principals. I actually think that that's one of the more underrated shows of the last decade. I thought it was just going to be like, you know, memes and, oh, I like Walton Goggins. But it's actually like, I found myself, let's not say affected too much by the show, but I was like, this is actually like very well done, subversive comedy. Like, I was into it, you know? And I think that The Righteous Gemstones so far has been good to great. I was gonna say mixed to good, but no, I think it's from good to great. Not sublime so far, but still, you know, doing well. But I would just love to see him in something where he's not himself. Like, in everything he's in, he's even like, so he's also in Alien Covenant, where he plays like the pilot of the ship, and even there, you're like, you just know that at some point he's gonna call this, you know, xenomorph an MFer, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's gonna be there. Please tell me this is a secret room. Please tell me that this is Guppy. Come on, we put a lot of effort into the Guppy payout this time. I'm begging you. I don't think we were asking for the world on this one. Okay, it is not this way. Maybe, it's probably not this way. I hate, you don't usually see an Isaac map, like, circle back on itself like this and put a boss room in the center. At least that's in my cartographical opinion. But I've been wrong in the past. There have been times, you know what? There you go. I've very rarely been happier to be wrong. No, thank you. Well, the run should be... I don't want to end this on a negative note, you know? I don't want to just exclusively spend all my time talking about how Isaac screwed me because it didn't give me any damage upgrades. We should be totally fine. I am a little bit hopeful that maybe, you know, the goodness of their heart might allow them to bequeath us a couple of damage-related items, you know? I'm telling you, I could not make a better Isaac. I want that to be known. But if I were to try... Oh, you wanted a Tears upgrade? There you go. If I were to try to make a better Isaac, what would I do? I would remove shot speed, shot height, range, luck as stats. It would just be HP Tears damage speed in my world. By the way, we're about to get funky. You might consider that a mistake, and you know what? That's your prerogative. I have no idea what we're doing on this run now, but I thought let's get funky with it, all right? We got eyeball, soy milk tears. We got, I don't know, decent damage. We got orbitals in case everything else falls apart. But what we do not have anymore, this is very important, we no longer have the Satanic Bible. As you can see, the damage is pretty amazing. Pretty prodigious. This guy, any second now, he's toasted. You're screwed, buddy. You're screwed. At some point before the screen is completely filled, you will face my wrath. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Thank you. So we're gonna be. There was a lesson in there. We're gonna be using our orbital to deal almost all the damage. You know what? I don't feel too bad about it. If the run is going to kind of force our hand to be a little, you know, underpowered in the first place, you might as well just lean all in and at least get something that's, like, you know, visually interesting. I do like the eyeball tiers here. I think those are doing some cool stuff with soy milk and continuum and, you know, etc., etc. They're still going, huh? Makes a nice little popcorn sound, too. Okay, probably lost our Eternal Heart, but old Bandage is hanging out, doing good stuff for us. Here we go. We have gulped the tick. As positive, I think. I am a little nervous just because I don't know what our HP is like, and, I mean, obviously that doesn't help. It's very hard to do, like, threat management when you don't know... You know, you can't see the forest through the trees. There we go. At least one of those hit. All I mean by not being able to see the forest through the trees is literally I can't see because there's so many, like, eyeballs on the screen. It's very hard to tell what's an enemy. What's a bullet, etc., etc. But it seems to be working out okay. Obviously, like, you know, not as fast, maybe, as I'd like. Also, this is one of those times where I'm like, I'm pretty sure this Isaac episode is going to be, like, 4 times larger. Oh my... I don't know what's happening, but let me out. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. I'll see you next time. See ya!